Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Maddie and I'm joined by my co-host Ben. It is great to have you join us on this episode.
Yes, hello listeners. Hello Maddie. Welcome to episode number 179. We apologise for the radio silence. Over the past week, we've been dealing with a whole lot of stuff, but here we are back and we are ready to cover
losers and draws, and most importantly, the wins.
We are going to fly through all the games that we've missed to catch you back up on where we are at with both the men's team and the women's team.
And a big shout out to St. Peter's Lutheran College, Year 5S class.
Yes, Maddie, you presented to your class your work on our podcast. And so if any of the college students are listening, then a big hello to you. But before we get to all our content in this episode, a quick reminder to please follow, like, and subscribe so that we can keep growing our Arsenal Kids community.
Because we would love for you to join us on this adventure together.
We would indeed. And Maddie, as they say,
first things first.
First things first indeed. That means starting with the women's team who faced Liverpool in the Adobe Women's FA Cup quarterfinal. And on what was a rough Meadow Park pitch was the second half goal from Sophie Romanhorg from Liverpool that saw them through to the semi-final of the competition after what was a frustrating battle. I think that Liverpool, we know they are big, they're physical, and we just aren't at the moment. And on a pitch that had seen 3 games in 3 days, they made the most of their opportunity and then held on to keep the lead and knock us out of the cup for this season.
The less said about the game, the better.
I think so, Maddie. I agree. So let's move straight on to the men's team. And they were then in Premier League action to face Manchester United, who at the time were languishing at the bottom of mid-table and really not doing so great this season despite their change in coaches.
But after controlling the first half of the game, we found ourselves behind at the break.
Yes, after Bruno Fernandes spent a free kick into our net in first half stoppage time, but an end-to-end second half saw David Raya keep us in touch after he made some excellent saves, and that paved the way then for Declan Rice to curl in an excellent goal on 74 minutes to get us back on level terms with some late heroics from both goalkeepers, really, ensuring that the spoils were shared. I think, if anything, the game highlighted our lack of forward options, especially in that number 9 position, because as good as Marino has been, we know he really is not a natural striker, and with all the dominance we've had in possession, particularly in that first half, like you said, Maddie, we should have done better and capitalised on the score sheet.
And while it wasn't a lose, a draw, it's probably not the result we were aiming for in the game.
Especially with United's recent form and us trying to even get close to challenging Liverpool, but a point is a point. And so then the next game was another men's team game, and it was the second leg of our Champions League round of 16 game against PSV Eindhoven, which we entered having won the first leg 7-1.
A foot in the door. But we still needed to do the business.
We did still need to do the business, and we managed a 2-2 draw with them this time around, with the second leg taking place in North London. Mikel Arteta, look, he made a raft of changes to the squad, with the tie pretty much done and dusted due to the damage the team had dished out the week before. And in this game, Alexander Zinchenko started, and he opened the scoring just 6 minutes in, with a great shot from outside of the box. The goal, though, was wiped out by Ivan Perisic 12 minutes afterwards. However, Declan Rice netted for the second successive game to hand us the half-time advantage.
But the match was levelled up again.
Yes, Maddie, when Drioch lifted the ball over David Raya on 70 minutes to salvage some pride for the visitors. We, though, had already done more than enough to clinch successive last 8 appearances in the Champions League competition for the first time since 2010, as we defeated PSV 9-3 on aggregate this time around.
And what is next up for the team, Ben? in the Champions League, Ben?
Well, Maddie, after advancing past PSV Eindhoven to reach the quarterfinals, we're going to be facing Real Madrid in the last 8 of the competition. It's going to be the first time we've gone head-to-head with the 15 times champions in this tournament since the 05-06 season, where we beat them 1-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium before drawing 0-0 at Highbury on our run to the final that season. These games, they're going to be taking place on April 8 at the Emirates, and then the second leg on April 16 in Madrid.
Okay, well, let's leave there for part 1, and we'll be right back after this with part number 2. Welcome back, and Ben, let's start with the news that we have a New England international in the team.
We do, Maddie, with Myles Lewis-Skelley being handed his first England senior call-up by coach Thomas Tuchel for the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. As we know, it's been a breakout season for the Hale End Academy graduate, who has 13 Premier League appearances and 6 Champions League games under his belt this season, and we wish him all the best as he heads into camp. Hopefully, maybe even making his debut.
Talking the celebrations, and we also applaud Leah Williamson, who is a Women's Super League appearance record holder.
Yes, Maddie, Leah officially became our record appearance holder in the Super League when she took to the field as the women's team played Everton away from home, making her 158th appearance in the Super League.
And let's talk about the game now, shall we, Ben?
We sure can, Maddie, as the women's team, they moved up to second place in that Super League table with a 3-1 victory over Everton at Walton Hall Park. Alessia Russo put our Gunners in front in the first half before the hosts tied the game 10 minutes later. Then, though, we regained our advantage on the hour mark through an own goal before Russo popped up once more to finish the game with a flourish.
And any key takeaway from the game, Ben?
Well, Maddie, of interest is that all the games actually came down the right-hand side where Kim Little, Chloe Kelly and then Beth Mead were operating. And they worked well to get around Everton and cause them problems through the game. Another thing, it was great to see Lena Hurtig back on the field, but at right back, which is an interesting change in position for her, but she had apparently been training there during the week. Also, we found out from head coach Renee Slagers after the game that the reason Zinsberger started in goal over Daphne von Domselaar is because Daphne has a concussion injury. And so she's now following the protocols around that, and we hope to get her back on the pitch again soon.
And next up for the team, Ben?
Well, Maddie, our women's team, they head into now Champions League action in midweek, where they're going to be taking on Real Madrid in the quarterfinals of the Champions League as well, with the first of those legs taking place in Madrid.
Okay, and our final game to cover in this episode, and the men's team faced Chelsea at home in the Premier League.
Yes, Maddie, and it was Mikel Merino's first half header that was enough to win what was a hotly contested London derby against the Blues, with the Spaniard starting his 6th consecutive game up front for us. He flicked in Martin Odegaard's corner to give our Gunners a deserved lead on 20 minutes.
There were not a lot of clear-cut chances in the game after that.
There weren't, Maddie, and despite the Chelsea keeper seeming to look a bit uneasy on the ball and giving it away at least twice that I can remember in dangerous positions, really we failed to capitalise. Chelsea, though, were grateful that their keeper stepped up when Merino smashed a well-struck volley on target in the second half, but the keeper managed to bat it away.
But that one goal was enough for us to get a win and stay in second place on the table.
It was, and it also meant that we've now gone 7 games against Chelsea without defeat. And while those last 15 minutes or so seemed a little edgy, as they always are when you're holding on to a slim lead, David Raya was mostly untroubled in our goal, and despite Fofana remaining on the pitch after what appeared to be a clear stamp on Declan Rice, and at least 2 further unpunished, I thought, yellow card offences, we still ground out the win but we remain 12 points off the pace that Liverpool are setting in front of us on the table.
And what is next for the team?
Well, Maddie, that's actually it for the men's team for this month. The international players, they've been selected, including Myles Lewis-Skelley that we spoke about. They're now going to go and join up with their respecting national teams. And the men's team, they don't return until midweek action on April 1st as we look to make fools out of Fulham in the Premier League.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us at Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude for your continued support. If you haven't already, please follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future. Remember, your love for the beautiful game is what fuels our passion.
And we would love for you to spread the word about Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Yes, please share our podcast with any other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back at the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time,
Goodbye.